G'day watchers, welcome to Perth Watch, your horology channel broadcasting from right here in Perth, Western Australia. Today I have the latest from OLTO-8, which I've reviewed a few watches. They do tend to make different type of stuff, a little bit weird, a little bit out there. This one perhaps is slightly more conventional, but still, nicely different enough, I think. So this is the current box it comes in. It's just cardboard. I guess that's about a 3.5 out of 5 in terms of spinability rating. A little bit grippy on this table of mine. And actually, it's full construction. There's no inner box here. That's where the manuals would go if, and warranties if they gave it to you. And that is a little bit of a travel pouch, which is pretty cool. I like that they've given that option there to take that out and take it wherever you want to go, and you can chuck it in your luggage and it will protect your watch. So some companies are starting to do that, which I have to say I kind of like. Okay, so guys, this is the OLTO-8 Coral Steward automatic blue color. Now the launch price, the Kickstarter price, about to come up very soon, is $299. That's the early bird price. The MSRP will be $400. That's the type of price that you will be expecting to look at here. And I think the discussion around the $299 perhaps is a good place to start in really considering this particular watch. It does come in a black and a green. I think just check out their website, whatever, if you wish to look at the other options. I particularly like the blue color, hence I went with this one. Okay, first up, as usual, movement. Now this in here should have been an NH35, but they've put a 36A in here. And that's a kind of curious choice, because it does feel that there is a ghost day in there. It does click along when I try to adjust just the date, the other direction, you feel the day clicking. So it's a curious choice they put in there. You guys know the stats of this. I'm not going to kind of read that all out. It does run about +8 seconds per day, which is fine. It's absolutely fine with me in a Seiko NH type of movement. That's what it's run in the, almost 10 days I've had this running straight. Okay, moving on then. So case dimension wise is also kind of interesting. So the core case, if I can just show you between my thumbnails there, that core case there is 39.6 millimeters, caliper measured 39.6. The outer edge, so between my two forefingers here, the outer edge of the case is 45 millimeters, and that's the same with the lug-to-lug distance. If you want to consider it a lug-to-lug, it's 45 millimeters tall as the case as well. So that's really the dimensions we're looking at. The thickness is 13 millimeters, and the lugs, those lug width there is actually 22 millimeters, as you would expect with a 45 millimeter outer edge there. Overall weight, with silicone rubber is only 126 grams. So all the weight, or just about all the weight, is in the case there. The rubber is very, very light. So it's slightly top heavy, I guess, if you're really considering that type of balance on your wrists. In terms of finishing, long brushing on the top, as well as the bottom surfaces. It's got the polished bevels. So, it's got the top polished bevel in the core case, as well as on the side element there. Hopefully you can see that reflecting. And then it's got more of a matte blasted side, which is cool. That really quite nicely done finishing, well done on what they've achieved here in terms of the differential finishing. I always enjoy seeing the work that has gone into that. In terms of the back, it's of course not going to be a screw down in this square back. It's 4 screws securing that square case back there. And it's got a laser etched, vintage dive helmet there. Not stamped, which gives a more 3D effect. This is just laser etched, so slightly regrettable. I do enjoy a good stamped case back. This one, it's kind of more two-dimensional, I guess, if you want to, consider that. In terms of the crowns, is double crown, right? Double sign crowns. One controls the bezel, one is the standard, setting crown here. They're both screw down, and this is a full 300 meter dive rated watch here. Okay, moving on to the dial now, which is perhaps a lot of where the action might be considered to be. So this is what they call an oil pressure 3D carved blue dial. So it's a blue fume effect dial. You can see how it fades into black in the side there. So that's a fume effect. It's got applied polished indices in 11 positions, including also an applied date window there. Otherwise, it's got printed details, and the chapter around the side, those dots, is supposed to evoke pearls, which it kind of does, I suppose. It looks like a ring of pearls around the side of the dial there. Pretty cool. And in terms of the hands, right, polished sword and obelisk. I want to call that minute hand an obelisk main hand. Just a simple stick for the seconds, which actually doesn't have a Lume pip there, which is a bit curious. They really should have put one in there if they want to be serious about the diver. In terms of the Lume, it's got what they call Nemoto Superluminous. So some sort of Japanese Lume. It looks like BGW9, maybe it's not. It's on the two main hands and the 11 indices, as well as the full rehort, which is the internal rotating bezel. And of course, I'll put a Lume shot right here for you guys to see how it glows in the dark. Glows pretty darn well and easily glows all the way through the night into the morning as I've tried it. Right, moving on from there. So it's an internal rotating bezel. This is actually difficult to operate, I have to say, but I will show it to you guys. So with these internal bezels, they don't click. You just unscrew that until it comes loose, and then it rotates. There's no clicking, and it's bi-directional. And you can see how it would look like. It's actually a little bit finicky in terms of aligning it. I'm not even going to try in this time. I'm just going to very roughly put it at 12 o'clock, and I'm going to screw that back in. So that's how you would set the bezel. I guess the benefit of a bezel like this is that you're never going to accidentally turn it underwater or any other time. You really have to deliberately want to set the bezel to change the direction of the alignment there. The finishing of the rehort is matte PVD. I think the other ones have a bit of brush. This particular one has a matte finish. Looks like a printed on that rehort there, which is fine. They're not going to scratch that. It's under the glass there. And talking about glass, on top of the dial, a flat sapphire crystal with AR coating. That's the entire case. Now moving on to the straps. This is a very, I guess it's simple, but there is some pattern here. It's a perforated blue silicone rubber. It's got two keepers there, which is kind of handy. And it's got quick release bars and just a brush steel buckle with the OLTO-8 logo on it. And that's it. That's the entire description of this watch. I'm just going to put it on the wrist for a wrist shot for you guys now. And there you have it, guys. The OLTO-8 Coral Steward automatic diver in blue color on my 17 centimeter wrist. And because it's only 45 day, it certainly fits. It's got good presence, really quite solid, and definitely not going to miss this on the wrist. And that's how that blue silicone rubber sits on there. Okay, pretty cool sitting, and definitely different with the square shape of the case that you have on this watch. Right, that's the description. What have I enjoyed about this? What are the good things? Look, I think this is an interesting and very different take on the dive watch. OLTO-8 do get known for really different designs, and this is, I guess in a sense, no exception, even though it's slightly more conventional in having three hands indicating the time here. It's got that square case, internal rotating bezel. First one I've seen, actually. I'm not sure I've seen a watch like this before, definitely not on my channel. It's got that coral dial, which it is quite nice. It is actually a conversation point. I have actually had people look at it and ask about what is with that dial. It's supposed to be a coral motif, and definitely those two crowns. It looks like a face with ears there. That's also quite different to a lot of other watches. A lot of internal bezels. You have the setting crown here and the bezel crown here. This one they've gone 3 and 9. So again, something a little bit different. The construction is pretty good quality, right? You can let the finishing, I'll let the finishing speak for itself. The finishing is pretty darn good, and this does feel very solid. So it's got that full 300 meter dive rating. It's got sapphire crystal and very good lume. Overall, really, for $299, this is a rather attractive price, I think, for something with such design thought that has gone into it, and which really has started some conversations. For me, if you can get it for $299, I reckon it is a very fair price. $400, you know, it's kind of getting towards the range that people would argue, oh, maybe it shouldn't be that much. But I think $299, most of you would agree, is really quite a competitive price for a piece like this. Any weaknesses? Okay, look, I think square watches, it's not for everyone. I think some people absolutely dislike square watches. I think it's cool. I think it's a different thing. And it's something, you know, that you can have to swap out from your standard round case watches that most people have in their collection. Definitely on the large side, particularly the width, you know, so 45 for some people would be large. So that's something to consider as well. But I think because the height isn't very big, isn't very tall, it fits most guys, I would know. I would say the bezel, I've already said this, is difficult to operate. So if you want to do that all the time, I think you'll be irritated having to set that continuously. It's not the easiest type of timing bezel to use. And lastly, NH36 with a ghost day, perplexing. Absolutely no idea why you would choose to put an NH36 in this. I assume 35 would be cheaper, but maybe not. Maybe they just had overstock of the 36 movement. And that's it. Really, that's my thoughts on this piece. Let me know what you think, you know, whether you'll splash out for this on the Kickstarter or you got concerns about it. Would love to hear the discussion in the comments below. Guys, thank you again for sticking with me. As always, I'll catch you guys next time.